Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Wilton Manors, Florida, with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Lynn Cummings.
Show for trans folks, by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard.
Well, good evening and welcome to Transition Radio, a show for trans folks by trans folks here to let your voice be heard. I want to let everybody know that you can call in. The number is 646-716-6895. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything, then the radio show is for you. Tonight we have Zayden Tyler. He's a 24-year-old FPM. He has been on hormones for 5 months. He is the administrator of a collaborative channel called Transgender Project with about 14 members.
But before we bring them on, we want to thank our sponsor, breastformstore.com. They have everything you could possibly need for your transgender or processing needs. Visit their website and tell them Transition Radio sent you.
Zayden says, we have a wide range of members wanting to help others out by getting the word out and helping people who are having troubles getting through the trans community. We also want to steer people in the right direction so they can get started on their transition.
We also offer a helping hand to anybody who needs someone to talk to and has questions about anything. We make videos talking about different topics that we give out each Sunday. The Transgender Project is a collaborative. Each week I submit a topic to a common page for the members where we can all access the information and plan our videos accordingly.
There are currently multiple guys and gals assigned to upload a video each day of the week. The idea of having a significant number of members and the range of different personalities is that viewers will have a chance to relate to one or more of those members.
We may not have the best quality cameras or editing software, but our messages come from our hearts. Even if only one person who stumbles upon our channel benefits from what our members have to say, then we are happy to have made an impact.
Of course, on a larger scale, we hope to educate many viewers and gain subscribers to help, in a small way, further the acceptance of trans and gender nonconforming individuals. Now, welcome to our show, Zayden Tyler.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, Zayden. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're doing fantastic, thank you. And we're very pleased and honored to have you on our show. I'm looking forward to allowing our listeners to hear your amazing story and what you're doing in YouTube with your collaborative channel.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure. So, Dan, what sparked the idea of creating a YouTube channel geared towards helping trans men and women in our community?
What sparked the idea of creating a YouTube channel geared towards helping trans men and women in our community? I believe in helping others like myself and to show the trans community that it's okay to be your true self and not be afraid of who you are.
Let me ask you, Zayden, was there a channel on YouTube that actually helped you in your transition that you wanted to pass it forward?
I actually just watch a bunch of different people going through their transition, and it really helped me gear myself in the right direction to realizing that I am too trans and that I need to do the medical transition to be happy with myself.
And it's a wonderful thing to be able to have that sort of channel or sort of resource out there to help us, because back in the day we didn't have none of that. So I feel the trans community now is very fortunate to be able to have many websites and channels and other people so that you don't feel so alone. So
yeah,
it's a great
old
thing.
parts like you didn't have that back then.
I know. Old parts like me didn't have stuff like that. So tell me, Zayden, what sets your YouTube channel apart from all the other collaborative channels out there?
We have a wider variety of trans men and women of all different ages, in which we all have different points of views that come from different backgrounds, such as where we all live, how our family and friends see us, in which we all can relate to same subject matters. This is being transgender in a society that because nobody understands us.
Exactly. And do you agree that the more we are visually out there telling our stories, that the more people are going to get it, or do you think that sometimes it may have an opposite effect?
I want everybody to understand that we are people and that we aren't different just because we see ourselves as a different sex than what we were born as.
I actually believe that it's a plus to have been born to spirit and to live life the way that we are. We have an advantage. And although a lot of our transgender brothers and sisters don't see it the way, they see it as a curse, it's actually a blessing. And I believe that the more we see that, the further we will get our message out there and the rest of the world will see as such.
Yeah, I believe that too.
It's a great thing for relationships too, especially if you're with the opposite gender, because being both genders, you know how to treat the other gender, you know what the other gender wants, you know your partner and whatnot, and so it's like hey, you know, it's the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
So are any of the members of the collab channel going to be calling in with just chat out and saying hello or with any questions or anything like that? You know, they're more than welcome to call and join our conversation here.
I told everybody that I was doing this today. I let everybody know, and I posted it in our group, and hopefully somebody calls in and gets a little chat with us from the collab channel.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Let me ask you, what kind of topics do you talk about on your channel? And can you tell our listeners a little bit about the members?
Well, we just started our week 6, and we covered topics from a wide range. And so far we have covered an introduction about ourselves, how we come up with our name, our coming out stories, and our sexual orientation is the one we're on now. We want to make sure we cover things that would help everyone who is in need of a trans man or woman to help them with whatever it is they're having problems with. We believe in making sure that everyone gets on the right direction and gets their right information, because we want everyone to have a successful transition and give them all the information they will need before and during their transition.
And that's actually very important. There's a lot of questions out there. And actually, we've got a caller, so we're going to go ahead and take this call and see if it's one question, a comment, or something or the other. So here we go. Let's see here. Caller, welcome to Transition Radio Show. State your name, where you're calling from, and do you have a question or a comment?
Hey, Zayden. Actually, it's Ethan. I'm one of the members of the YouTube channel.
Hey. Thanks for calling in. I'm
no
great.
problem,
How are
man.
you?
Awesome. Wanted to call in and show my support.
Awesome. That's great. And you enjoy doing the videos for the collab channel, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
It's a great tool to have other people. I mean, when you're first coming out and you're not quite sure what it is that you're feeling inside, and you see other people, it gives you that strength, that valor, you know, and it makes it a lot easier. You don't feel like you're so crazy and feel like you're so alone.
Well, Zayden and I, we kind of have been talking a lot about this upcoming event, him being on the interview, and we were, he was bouncing questions off me, and we were talking about the summary of what the goal is with our radio, or not our radio, excuse me, with our collaborative channel. And it's just, we all found so much comfort in videos that were made by other people, and I think that helped us really realize that we weren't alone. More than anything, it was comforting. And I think we want to provide that same feeling to other people, even if it only affects one person. At least we were able to enlighten somebody or educate, You'd
be surprised how many people you do reach, because it's a lonely world, especially if you live in areas that you don't have a big LGBT community. So when you have information online, it's a great help.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an amazing thing. I know that when I first started, there was only Jameson Green and another Jameson Knight, and I couldn't find enough information, and it made me feel so alone, and that's why I decided to be an advocate when I first came out back in 2003 and did the circuit on all sorts of TV shows and just wanted to educate people, and that's important. It's important because you never know what life you might save. Exactly.
Well, Zayden, you and I were talking about how growing up, you felt different, but nobody teaches trans. So it's not until you discover somebody who's trans or information regarding transgender identities that you even know, really.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no handbook for transitioning. There's plenty of stories that you can utilize, but there's no right way or wrong way to transition.
Even the medical community are still pretty much discovering things and shooting at the hip, so we're actually making history.
Which reminds me that if you steal an idea from one person, it's called plagiarism. Right. But if you steal an idea from many people, it's called research.
There you go. Tell us a little bit about your transition, Zayden, and what has been the most amazing part of your journey?
I actually started hormones on May 17th of this year, and I love it. I've always knew that I was different from everybody else, and I have pictures of myself when I had short hair, and I had long shorts on, and my hat backwards, and all that was in elementary school. And I also have a picture of when I was in a football outfit when I was really young. So I believe I knew I was meant to be a boy my entire life. I had to come to terms with it first in order to move further with my own transition. I am happy now that things are going good, and I couldn't be happier with how I'm starting to look, and I can't wait to get where I want to be physically. I couldn't be any happier with how things are going right now. I have an amazing girlfriend who supports me 100%, and she is my entire world. She loves me for me, and she will always continue to support me as long as I'm happy. The most amazing part of my journey is watching my voice drop lower and lower the further I get in my transition.
Have you done any crackling yet? I know when I first started, it was like I sounded like a pubescent boy, and it was like, oh, my God, what's going on here? But it's exciting. Exciting changes, an exciting journey. You have to agree with that as well. It is exciting. How about for yourself, Ethan?
Zayden started hormones on my birthday, actually. And so happy birthday to me. I got another brother that day, huh? And I started mine this year on May 9th. For me, I actually rejected my identity at first. I went through life first as a straight female because I had a very straight-edge grandmother who helped raise me, and she was Republican and conservative. So I thought that's the way that I had to do things. And then when I got into high school, I realized that, hey, I like women. So the most logical thing was I'm a lesbian. And it never sat quite right with me. It just didn't feel like that's who I truly was. And I became more and more butch, as society would label me, I suppose. And then I realized I was really dysphoric about my chest, and I was trying to hide them with sports bras and layers, and just never felt comfortable. So I had gotten involved in the activism community in Western New York, and I met a friend who told me about transitioning, and he told me that, it's okay to not totally be trans. You could also be, gender nonconforming. And that's when I started rejecting myself. I was like, well, maybe I'm just two-spirited or bigendered, or I didn't want to take ownership of being male because I think that meant that it was real, it was going to happen, I could do it, and it was going to be a long journey. And it scared me at first because I was afraid of the reaction of my family. But when I met my fiance, she's a trans woman and brilliant and actually quite a bit older than me. And she gave me the courage to see that if she could do it, I could do it. And so that's when I came to terms with it. And I said, you know what, I'm going to jump in. It's all or nothing.
It's amazing how many transgender individuals are hooking up with each other. I think it's a beautiful relationship. You understand each other greatly, and it's a great thing.
It's like a foursome in the bedroom.
Exactly. And, I embrace my two-spirit side. I don't believe to be put in a box. We lived in our box all our lives. So the two-spirit feature is a beautiful thing, and how do you feel about that, Zayden, two-spirit?
It's good. Say that again?
How do you feel about the two-spirit nature? Do you fully just reject your other side, or are you embracing the fact that you're two-spirited and that it's making you a better person by aligning both your energies?
I embrace it. I think it's a great thing to embrace and to know and to put in time and effort. And I think it's great to know and to have and to understand, and it's just amazing.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
And people don't realize sexuality. We consider ourselves pansexual. And that means that you fall in love with the individual. It doesn't matter if they're transgender, if they're male, or female.
For the person, not
the
for
person. And I think that's what we need to teach society, and I believe that's why we're here to do as transgender individuals. We're helping humanity evolve.
Exactly.
I agree.
So, Zayden, what you hope to accomplish with your collab channel, and tell us how our listeners can find you.
We want to educate the uneducated, help other trans men and women who think they are alone in this world, give some guidance to some trans men and women out there who need people like us to show them that it's okay to be themselves and or help them out, give them tips about transitioning, where they can turn for help within the community. Also, info about HRT, and let everyone know in this amazing world that there are wonderful people like us out there who care and want us to help those in need. And we do. We are on YouTube, and we are on Tumblr, and we are on Twitter, all under Transgender Project. And we want to help, like everybody on the Collab channel. We want to help everybody. We want to educate the uneducated, and we want to make sure that everyone has a helping hand, that they can come to somebody to talk to about anything that they need to talk to about.
And God knows we need that, because there are a lot of uneducated, ignorant people, and ignorant is not something negative. Ignorant is just, the word means you don't know. So there's a lot of people that don't know, and they've gone by hearsay, and they think we're freaks, and they think there's something wrong with us, and they don't realize it is a biological condition, and that we don't choose this, it chooses us, and that we've been around since ancient time, and we're here strongly now to help with the evolution that's taking place on our Earth.
If I could I interject?
Yeah, go right ahead, Ethan.
I was just going to say that I think that we live in such a gender binary world where people need to feel like they can compartmentalize and categorize everything. And so this thing called male and this thing called female, these two identities have been created, and whatever doesn't neatly fit into that box makes certain people very uncomfortable. And that's something that I think our channel, well, at least it made, compelled me to join the channel, is that I felt like even if I could change one person's ideas to understand that, for example, sexual orientation and gender identity are two separate entities, I want to educate. like you said, ignorance isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a lack of information.
Exactly. And like you said about the gender binary, I think that, the world is so gender oriented. It's like, okay, everything has a gender specific role,
Mm-hmm.
such as work, what you do, what you do in your free time, etc. Oh, you can't do that. That's too girly, or that's too boyish.
Right.
We need to break those.
Ridiculous.
We need to break that mold.
Because I need to say, I have witnessed that there are men out there that can do things a lot better than women, and vice versa. And things that you would think that would be for a specific gender, the other gender actually comes in and does a better job some of the time.
Yeah. And I think it's part of the evolution to break from those boxes that we have been placed in. And I mean, you're seeing a lot of early on transgender kids that are being vocal, and they're teaching us that we know this from a very young age. And we've interviewed many parents with transgender children, and we've been doing this for over a year now, and it's amazing the wonderful interviews that we have received from transgender individuals from all over the world. We're growing in numbers, we're strong, we're here, and we rock. That's all I have to say. Really rock. So what do you think? Thank you so much. What do you think our community is missing, and why we seem to be so fragmented as a group? Because I believe that's a problem. We're so fragmented. We need to unite and stop judging one another. I mean, we're getting enough judgment out there. So what do you think it's missing?
I think we're missing compassion for each other, and frankly, a lot of trans people seem to lash out at each other for things like surgery, for example, whether it's jealousy or it's just differences of opinion on the matter of this is a reality. I think we need to come together and set our differences aside, unite and fight for our normalization in society. I want us all to be recognized as human.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Our spirits having a human experience.
What about you, Ethan?
Actually, Zayden and I, we talked about this together, and I think that, it's very important that people recognize people as just that, humans. We all need to understand that no matter what label you slap on each other or you slap on ourselves in the trans community, and what choices we make whilst transitioning, or, just saying, hey, I'm male, I'm not doing anything about it, we have to be okay with that. It's no business of ours to dictate what another person does in their journey, but it is up to us to be compassionate and support each other, because that's something severely lacking. And I hope this isn't too risky to say, but personally, I think there is also a terrible problem with playing the victim that is alive in the trans community, because we're so repressed, a lot of us, and we come from a bad place, or where we've been hated or treated poorly, that we kind of forget to be grounded, and it's more like a self-centered competition of who's got the worst sob story to get attention. And I don't mean that against my brothers and sisters who have had really bad times. I just mean that we lose sight of the journey.
It's true.
Well, I think it's an evolution that because we are actually reflecting back on everything that we have gone through, and then eventually we emerge and we have this epiphany. And once we realize where we're at is where we're going to, and we need to be happy being there.
Right.
Then those, hopefully, for most of us, the sob stories will turn into positive stories.
Yeah, mostly, and we hope so. There are a lot of violent life stories out there, and I understand. I mean, we've all been there, but we have to look at the positive, and we can't let other people bring us down, because I believe we're amazing individuals. Did you guys hear about Todd Kincannon? He's a former executive director of the South Carolina Republican Party. He tweeted that transgender people should be put in camps. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah, it's ignorance. Ignorance like that has no clue. And
yeah, they had the whole thing about the Twitter thing that went back and forth with somebody, and it was like this whole thing. He's like, oh, you know, using
very
this is
derogatory.
Republican.
Yeah, well, that's
you know, in our supposed government. Okay, well, you know, I think that's
great.
ridiculous.
But when I brought this up because, you know, I guess they're going to have to put everyone in account because a lot of people are becoming more in touch with their androgyny side. There's this gal, her name is Elliot Saylor. She's a model. She was a blonde bombshell with a prestigious company, a Ford modeling agency, and had curves that graced for party billboards all around the world. But when jobs dried up in that industry, she considered 25 middle age. So she then chopped up her hair and reinvented herself as a male model. And this is not the first time I've heard this. I think there's a lot of female models that are doing this, becoming in touch with their male side. And I think it's beautiful. I mean, it's almost like a wave of the future. Males are being more in touch with their feminine side, and females are becoming more in touch with their male side. It's an evolution. I truly believe that something's going on, and that's why we're growing in numbers.
Either that or in the 60s they were putting something in the water.
Something right now.
It's a progression. It's a progressive movement, absolutely. And I wanted to say what you were saying about the politician that was making that statement. I think that all too often, in especially with the conservative community, they lash out at the LGBT community in effort to propel their campaigns, and disregarding that there are many actually LGBT people who are conservative themselves. So you kind of cut out a segment, you isolate a segment of people by doing that. You should never, ever, hate on a community in order to push an agenda forward, is my belief.
Yeah, and mixing religious belief with politics is a bad thing. It's been a bad thing since ancient time. It's a bad thing now. People are entitled to be who they are.
Exactly.
Well, separation of church and state was supposed to exist.
Yeah, but it's it's really amazing how I'm seeing more and more. We see even the children; they're becoming more in tune with their androgynous side. And I believe if you look at the symbol yin and yang, it's both male and masculine energy. You can't have one without the other. And I believe we're returning to oneness. And it's a beautiful thing. Boxes are terrible. We are put in one the day we die. We don't need to live in one.
Yeah, exactly.
No such thing as trans enough or not trans enough, and we're all beautiful individuals.
Oh, I love it when some of these girls out there say, "I was never a cross-dresser. I've always been a girl." I'm like, yeah, okay. Sorry, but you had to go through a cross phase somewhere.
Exactly. Even us FPMs, we dressed in male clothes because we felt more comfortable. And there's some people that will never transition. There's some people that will just cross-dress because they can't, and we can't judge them. The transgender umbrella, it's a very big umbrella.
Absolutely. There's also something to be said about the acceptance of feminine masculinity versus masculine femininity.
Definitely. Well, we've got 90 seconds left in the show. Do you guys want to say a shout-out to anyone, say anything else before we end the show?
I just want to say I hope all the listeners can check us out and watch our collab channel as we grow and move further down with more weeks and more topics, and it's going to get interesting and it's going to get crazy. And me and Ethan are trying to talk about starting up a little fundraiser for us in the collab channel, and hopefully if we can get the word out and raise enough money and stuff like that, I want to use the money for the people in our collab channel to help them with their transition and help them get their hormones and their surgeries. And I also, when we get all that done, I also want to help out other people in our trans community who are having trouble getting their hormones and stuff each month or each time they need to get it refilled. I want to be that person to help them out.
That's awesome. Well, the show's about to end. The live version of it goes on recording mode. And be available on demand, and I put it on YouTube, and you'll have your own page on our website, Zayden. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We want to thank our listeners. Remember, we love you, but remember to always love yourselves, too. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Thank you. Keep up the good work.